Zack Hample. You're listening to the Why So Serious Show.
And now, stand up and make some noise for your cast of the Why So Serious Show on BlazeRadioOnline.com.
Why So Serious Show, Alumni Show, Take 2. With Jesse Morrison and Max is a beastie guy.
I'm not going over the story again.
Well, we did it in take 1. We gotta do it in take 2.
No, I'm good.
All right, I'll just say it then. Max was in 6th grade. He needed to go into a fantasy baseball league and didn't have an ESPN account. So his friend created him an account and called him Max is a beastie guy. We good with that?
Started off 4-0 in that baseball league.
What happened after that?
Everybody in the league lost interest.
See, this show is a little bit of deja vu because we explained the same story, and then you took the same swig of beer that you took in the last take. All right. Well, today was kind of the day. The NCAA tournament started. It was a first four to remember. It was the first four of all time, I think. I don't think there's ever been a better first four in the 10 years that they've done this stupid play-in game round.
Yeah, like I said 5 minutes ago, it feels a lot like Christmas Eve, where you get that taste of Christmas. You know, Christmas Eve is always that taste of Christmas. Usually a pretty good day. Usually you get really excited, like as the day goes on. Like when you get to night, like you're really, really pumped. But tomorrow's Christmas Day. Tomorrow's Christmas morning. When you wake up, you get college basketball. You get college basketball for basically 12 hours straight. It's always lives up to the hype. Never disappoints. I cannot wait, especially the first day. Like the second day is still great too, but the first day of March Madness is always the best.
I love a good March Madness. I love a good team, maybe coming in a 12 seed, can shoot the three, plays the defense well, has some senior guard play, because you need juniors and seniors back there in the guard play that can, shoot around 37% from three. That's going to get you far in the NCAA tournament.
You need bench depth.
Also bench depth.
Huge in the NCAA tournament. Go watch tomorrow and Saturday how many big schools. Now, I'm not talking about small schools. Small schools, it's a different thing. How many big schools that rely on one player to do a majority of their scoring, watch how many of them underachieve in the NCAA tournament. It happens every single year.
Got to have that depth, because if you get into foul trouble, you got to have players that can come in and help you out.
Or if your star player who got you there has a bad day, what are you going to do? Now, here's the catch. If you are a small school who is an underdog, who heavily relies on one player, I might pick you to go a few rounds, because that one player can put the team on their shoulders and carry that. Do you remember Ja Morant versus Marquette? I mean, Ja Morant was already known. He was already an All-American. He was supposed to be the number 2 overall pick. He became a superstar versus Marquette in the NCAA tournament because he put that team on his back.
One of the best performances in NCAA tournament history.
Yeah, I think they're a 13 seed. I think they beat 4-seed Marquette.
They might have been a 12, but they were still.
I think they're a 13. You're right. I don't know, but
I don't know. They might have been even as high as an 11, but it was still an upset.
It was a big. It was not to be expected by a lot of people.
Did they go to the Sweet 16?
I don't think so. I think they lost in the second round. But that Marquette team that year was led by Marcus Howard, who averaged like 30 points a game. Didn't necessarily have a great game versus Murray State, right? That's where Ja Morant went. My memory is so bad.
You're right.
But he didn't have a great game. Marquette lost.
What happened to Marquette? They're not in the tournament this year.
Marquette, like the last 7 or 8 years, has kind of just been one of those teams where it's like, yeah, every 2 or 3 years they'll like pop in as a 5 seed or something, but usually they're a bubble team at best.
So Buzz Williams got some jobs out of his Marquette time. But tomorrow morning, Virginia Tech plays at 9. Also playing at 9 and I'm very happy about this, is Arizona State women's basketball. I cover them. They're playing in the WNIT, but I have to make a little bit of a rant here. So it's either Flow Sports or Flow Hoops or whatever the hell it's called. It is this streaming service that is the only way of watching the WNIT, the entire tournament. I'm pretty sure. The final might be on like CBS Sports Network, but that's just because that sounds about right. But this is $30 a month.
Oh, they got a lot of bowling.
Yeah, they have like a bunch of just obscure stuff, and I'm not paying $30 a month.
This might be worth it though this year. Hear me out here. They have these streaming rights to the FCS.
That would be worth it, but like the FCS
that might be worth it in their spring
halfway
football
through the season.
Yeah, I know.
Like it's halfway. Like what do they think they are? ESPN Plus? ESPN Plus are $5 a month.
They've got college hockey. They've got Big Ten lacrosse. Oh my gosh, they've got the drum corps tournament.
Yeah, those are all great, but not worth $30 a month. No, it's more expensive than Netflix. You could also pay the yearly subscription for $12.50 a month, but it's $200 up front.
Look, they have streaming rights to the Under Armour Sunset Tour.
What is that?
I don't know. It's apparently some kind of track thing. I don't know.
I don't like no. just give me a media. I'm part of the media. I love Jeff Munn, but I would prefer to watch this game and not have to cover a game that I'm listening to. It is absolutely atrocious. Like, give the media a link. Not that many people are traveling right now during COVID. Braden Bell will be there because he's calling California Baptist University's women's team that is 24-0, but because of the NCAA and their stupid rules, California Baptist University is in the NIT.
That kept Grand Canyon out of the NCAA tournament a few years ago too.
Yes,
correct?
I believe it was their men's program. Yes, but now Grand Canyon, the only Arizona school represented in the men's tournament. Shout out to Grand Canyon University, the worst named school ever, because the Grand Canyon is 4 hours away.
Again, I'm gonna take a hot take here, and this has been something that I've died on the hill of many times. It's maybe my biggest conspiracy theory on it. Grand Canyon University doesn't exist.
I've been there.
I'm serious. I've looked it up. I've looked up like on maps where it's at. I've been past there probably hundreds of times. I've never seen it in my life. I've never seen a single building in my life. I've not met a single person who has graduated from that. Like, I don't think it exists.
So I've met someone that's graduated from there, and I've been on their campus multiple times.
You're in on the conspiracy theory.
No, I'm not. I've just actually been to the campus, Mac. I've video evidence that I was at the camp. It's
not real.
Not doctored. Nothing. I was at the campus. Max, put it on the poll. Is GCU a real place or a real college? We don't get in trouble for this, but I think we'll be okay.
You're the one who said it. Okay.
I take full responsibility, but maybe not real college, real place. Probably the better option.
Okay.
Yeah, but
no,
yeah,
can't do that. I can't do that. Is Grand Canyon a real place? I gotta delete that.
Is Grand Canyon University a real place? Because the Grand Canyon is definitely a real place.
Yeah, that might be a conspiracy too. I've been there before, but.
All right. Well, First Four was great. If you didn't watch it, you suck. And I especially really liked this little guy on Mount St. Mary's, but unfortunately, they didn't win, so he doesn't get to play. He was inspired by Muggsy Bogues. It was a great story.
You're going to love the tiny guy for Ohio. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy. He's like 5'8" or 5'9" or something. He's a two-time All-MAC player. and he averaged 2 points per game in his senior year of high school, and now he's like the star player on an NCAA tournament
Was he
team.
like the worst player on like one of these insane high school basketball teams?
I believe that's the story, but he like was a non-factor, and now he's like the best player on an NCAA
He
tournament.
was probably a stud on his AAU team.
Probably.
But what was I gonna say? I can't remember. But oh no, UMBC has a 5'2" point guard. They're not in the tournament this year, but they do have a 5'2" point guard. And ASU women's basketball is playing a 6'9" center tomorrow in the WNIT. She's actually good, 16-8. Normally those big tall players are like just big and tall and not very good, but the numbers say otherwise.
Like Shaq, where he wouldn't have been a starter if he wasn't his size.
Who you say?
Shaq. If Shaq was 6'8", he would have been bench player.
Probably. What I really like about the tournament is that we always reminded about the college basketball players and their T-shirts under their jerseys, because you always have a player on an NCAA tournament team hitting a big three who wears a baggy T-shirt under his jersey that nobody in the NBA would ever be seen in.
My other favorite thing is warm-up shirts with cheesy slogans. Always get some good cheesy slogans on warm-up t-shirts. Always get some good ones.
Refuse to lose.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Well, I want to talk about my bracket because this is my platform to just give people my bracket. So here's first off, I'm going to show people my men's bracket. It is pretty chalk, except you will see some of my best picks here. And I say, oh, that's a spoiler. Can't show you that yet. Also, by the way, we have a very special interview coming up with a very famous YouTuber.
Way to read the lead.
I always do that with interviews by accident. But here's my bracket. Okay, so I really liked Oklahoma at one point in the season. They're going to be in my Final Four. But now that they have to play Gonzaga's winning. This is basically my chalkiest region of the bracket, except I got USC going to the Sweet 16. Also, we're a Final Four team for me at one point. But I always forget that there's regions and they put teams that I like in regions with other teams that I like more. Okay, here's maybe my biggest upset bracket. I've got Georgetown winning.
It's everybody's biggest upset, that one is.
I got Texas going to the Final Four. They've played 13. Let me tell you, Max, they've played 13 top 25 opponents this year. They're 7-6, and guess what they have?
A Big Ten schedule, it sounds like.
A loaded backcourt with veteran guard play.
I love it.
All right, and then here's my other biggest upset. We got Syracuse going to the Elite Eight because
I've got Syracuse in the Elite Eight as well.
These teams won't be able to handle the zone.
I've got Syracuse.
Probably except for probably San Diego State that can straight light it up. Max, do you want to say anything about Loyola Chicago?
Loyola Chicago's great. Well, other than Sister Jean, but
yeah, let's hear what you have to say about Sister Jean.
She's overrated. She's an old woman watching basketball. Who cares? She's
101 and still a chaplain. It's pretty impressive.
She's watching basketball. Yeah,
she likes her hoops. It's adorable. People like this Colgate team. They played
a lot about Colgate.
They played 15 games this year.
I've heard Arkansas is very streaky too, and so that could be that. I've been told the Winthrop a lot too.
Yeah, people like the Throp.
I think it's because they don't like Villanova.
Yeah, they just don't like that Villanova has that player that's hurt. But Villanova's goal is beating Winthrop. But yeah, I got Texas Tech going to the Elite Eight as well because I don't really know why. Because I just don't like Ohio State because you told me that I should be lukewarm on them. I
say that, and then I have them in the Final Four.
Yeah, and then I should also not be picking Baylor, but this was a terrible region of the bracket that has a bunch of teams with no shot. So, excuse me. So yeah, that's why I went Texas Tech, and I would really like to see a Baylor Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. That's a very non-big Texas schools playing each other, like the secondary Texas schools playing each other. So
Going big on the state of Texas, huh?
I'm big on Texas schools.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of good this year. The Big 12 wasn't the Big 12 and the Big 10. If you go with teams from those conferences, see, like I'm very concerned about this Gonzaga pick because you told me how good Illinois is, and Gonzaga just plays a bunch of crap opponents all season and beats up on them.
Really though, did you see their schedule this year? They actually played tough opponents this year.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the season, and then for the past 2 months they've been cruising through West Coast teams.
What I always say is I don't hold it against Gonzaga that they play an easier schedule, but if Illinois played their schedule, they would have ran through it no problem also.
Do you want me to show my women's bracket and then go to yours, or
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I gotta find why don't they just have the app is so much better. Here we go. The app, you can just switch back and forth between women's and what?
There you go.
Here we go. Here is my women's bracket. Okay, so women's bracket probably even more chalk than my
Mine's very chalk.
But I do have Georgia beating Louisville, so it'll be a 1-3 there. Obviously, Stanford, very good team, plays in the best conference in the country. I have a 12-5 here, Stephen F. Austin. They look pretty good. This is why I picked them. 51 points per game allowed, 24-2. It's pretty good.
The Lumberjacks.
They also score the hell out of the ball, and they lost to Houston by 2. But yeah, but South Carolina is. I didn't really like them this year. They've lost 4 times, but there's just nobody in their region that's beating them. They got 9 wins against the top 25. UConn is just going to cruise. But I have Tennessee beating Baylor this year. I think Tennessee is a better team. They have a bunch of big wins and just close games with big teams. I don't like NC State. They've been upset a few times. I think they're shaky. I do not like Arizona. Arizona lost to ASU. I think that they're highly overrated. I think Ari McDonald has taken even though she's a Pac-12 Player of the Year, I think she's taken a step down from when she was like her sophomore and junior year when she was really, really good. So I think she's actually taken a step down. And I think that the experience of C. Vivian Stringer will get Rutgers to the Sweet 16. And that's about it for big. You got to pick an 11-6, I think, is what it is in women's, but I don't. Yeah, I picked FGCU over Michigan. Not high on Michigan in either bracket.
City.
What'd you say?
Young City.
I will get more into this whole women's tournament in my What Are We Doing?
I'm sure you will.
Because that is tough.
Yeah.
And
definitely the obvious one for What Are We Doing this week?
Yeah, you could go more on the St. Mary's High School basketball route if you want to.
Oh, I'm good.
All right, Max. Well, I want to see yours.
Okay.
I have yet to see yours because ESPN doesn't allow us to see our friends' brackets before the tournament starts.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to share screens. So.
Oh yeah, I that was on the previous Zoom on take 1.
Okay.
Roommates, let me tell you.
Let's see here. Okay. Can you see my screen?
I see your screen.
Okay. So as you see here, very scratch. Iowa.
Similar to mine.
I said Iowa was going to make my Final Four unless they are in a region with Gonzaga or Illinois.
You literally have an identical region as me.
Yeah. I think Iowa is really, really strong. I think they could be a team that beats Gonzaga.
I was so close. You don't even.
Garza is a monster inside.
Mark Few never wins the national championship either. Like, it never happens. They've gotten to one Final Four.
Yeah, and I was so close to doing because the year where Duke had Zion and Barrett, I picked Michigan State to beat them. I really believed in that Michigan State team. I picked them to beat them, and they did. And I was close to doing that here with Gonzaga and Iowa. But Gonzaga, I looked up, they have like 2 20-point scorers. Like a lot needs to go wrong for Gonzaga to lose a game.
Izzo's probably punching something right now.
But yeah, I have USC winning also because Kansas, I feel like just always underachieves in the tournament. I don't know why.
I don't think they even really do.
It's like, but like it just seems like they don't make it out of like the Sweet 16 very often. Anymore.
That's true. I don't like Bill Self as a coach.
What?
I don't like Bill Self as a coach.
He's a great coach. I mean, but
scumbag.
Well, allegedly, I don't know. But yeah, no. Over here, I've got Ohio State. I have Ohio State coming out of this region. I don't know why. I don't have a lot of confidence.
It's a terrible region. The region has nobody good in it. It's literally a region without a strong team. I should have picked Hartford over Baylor.
So anyway, so down here, yeah, I'm a big believer in Illinois. I got Syracuse as well. I think Syracuse.
Florida State in your Final Four?
That region is awful. Florida State is an all or nothing pick. So I think there is no in between. Florida State is either going to lose in the second round of the tournament or they are making the Final Four. I do not think there is a single other scenario. Those are the only two things that can happen because they are such a make or break team. They could.
Hamilton, one of the most underrated coaches literally in the history of the sport.
And they've been building that program up. They've been getting some moderate tournament success. They've been, consistently ranked for the last few years. I think this is their chance to break out.
For like 15 years. Nobody talks about them though. They had this Singleton guy, Chris Singleton and then they had a bunch of like 28-year-olds that did really well that one year. I think they were like former military guys or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like I think they're going to. I think they're gonna
watch out for Liberty, by the way.
Yeah.
Watch out for Liberty against Oklahoma State because again, what is the team that relies on its star, right? Yeah. And then Liberty is an insane defensive team. They give up like 59 points a game.
Yeah, so. I went against my thing with Cade Cunningham being like the star. Like I think that's a huge upset red flag. It's just I do think they squeeze past Liberty, and I don't have a lot of confidence in Tennessee.
Oh no, nobody likes Tennessee.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in them. It's just they're playing probably the worst, major conference school in the tournament. Frankly, Oregon State, either them or Georgetown. But
Oregon State's bad, but I would probably take Georgetown over Oregon State because I'm sorry, the Big East is still better than the Pac-12 no matter what. But no matter if they've lost Syracuse and if they've lost Louisville, they're still not. They're still and UConn's back in the Big East, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So they've got UConn back now too.
I think Oregon State. The trouble I have with them is I think they might be a just happy to be there team. You know what I mean? Like they're just happy to be in the tournament type of thing. Like I think Georgetown, like a lot of their players, like they get really great recruits. They get players who are expecting to kind of make some noise. I don't think they're going to be like that. I think Oregon State might have the syndrome of just being like, oh, we're just happy to be in the tournament.
Yeah, Georgetown is a major powerhouse program that has been down ever since FGCU. They were a 2 seed and lost a 15 seed FGCU. That killed that program temporarily. I think they're getting there.
Yeah, but also very underrated in the Georgetown kind of going down his program. They were the first big victim of Steph Curry in that year. They were coming in really, really confident. I think they were a 2 seed that year also.
That when they had like Roy Hibbert and Jeff Green and
they were a 2 seed and they lost to 10 seed Davidson that year because of Steph Curry.
Wow.
All right. So yeah. So then I got Gonzaga, Illinois as well. I've got Illinois winning though. So.
All right. Well, what's your women's bracket?
My women's bracket is probably very, very scratch.
It's up there at fantasy. There you go.
I got it. Okay. Let's see.
Got to go to your bracket over there. There you go. Good choice. Good.
Yeah. Let's see.
You have all 1s and 2s in the Elite Eight.
No, I've got
Western.
Yeah. Doing it for the Big Ten. They're making a run.
Okay. All the annoying journalist people are going to be happy with you that went to Northwestern and love it.
Got Maryland in the Elite Eight too.
They're a 2 seed. That's fine. You got UCLA. You got big expectations of UCLA. Let me tell you. Same
Yeah.
with Arizona. Arizona is not a good one to pick there.
It's fine.
Washington State. Wow. I think I had them in the second round. I don't remember.
Big time there. I mean,
Washington State. I think it's their first tournament appearance in like 30 years.
yeah, there you go.
What's your UConn? Okay, Tennessee's better than Baylor. But
I don't know.
all right.
But-
Well, yeah, looks good. 78-65.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think it's gonna be a close final. That final,
Paige is gonna go crazy on him.
Paige is the best player in the country. She's insane. Like, and she's a freshman. Also, she could technically stay for 5 years.
Yeah.
So imagine if she wins 5 NCAA.
And yes, by the way, I do have 4 1 seeds here.
It's not a bad idea. I just don't trust NC State.
I'm close on taking Northwestern over State.
Stanford's so good. They have one of the best defensive players in the country, who happens to be 5th-year senior guard Anna Wilson, happens to be the sister of Russell Wilson. I've seen Russell Wilson at multiple games, but yes, she is carving out a name for herself and that family. Quite the defender. Quite the
I just really want the smart people matchup. A lot of 4.0s in high school in that game.
Really, the broadcasters will be like, "Oh, these teams are so smart."
Oh, they don't make mistakes. That's gonna be. They're gonna say they don't make mistakes like 8 times in that game. I took UC Davis, one of San Jose State's biggest rivals, to beat Missouri State.
All right, Maxwell, are you ready to reveal the first region of what we are really interested in this tournament? Is finding out what is the consensus opinion of the greatest sports movie of all time.
Yep. So I'm posting these polls, right?
Yes, you are posting these polls, and unfortunately, my internship, my senior year of high school, did this, and they seeded this absolutely terribly. They did not. They left out some very, very big movies. Their selection committee was just atrocious, and I would tell them that to their faces. And so yeah, we have seeded this. We've done this the proper way. Let me find this here bracket, and then yes, we have it. Okay, so we don't really have names for these regions, so this is just kind of our first region. And I'll go ahead and share the screen because it makes it even better for the viewers. So here we go. Share the screen. Alrighty, so we have the first matchup, the number 1 overall seeded sports movie, Rocky, the great boxing movie with Sylvester Stallone, facing off against the 16 seed. You bedazzled my football. It is The Game Plan with The Rock, and I think her name in the show is Peyton. I don't remember what her name is. Madison Pettis. She's not a kid anymore. All right, the 8-9 matchup, a movie that I've never seen before. Everybody wants some. Versus another Rocky at the 9 seed. Rocky 3, my favorite Rocky, coming in at the 9 seed. All right, I think this is...
I love Rocky 3.
This is the 5-12 matchup, correct?
Yes, and for anybody out there who hasn't watched Everybody Wants Some, watch it. I think Jesse would love it.
Ford versus Ferrari is a 5 seed. Versus a 12 seed, a little wild card. Might upset Ford v Ferrari. The great Lil Bow Wow classic, Like Mike. He plays for the LA Knights, I think is the name of the team. They're basically
a long time since I've seen it.
They're the Clippers, but Donald Sterling probably didn't want his team affiliated with the movie because he sucks. And then the next one is the 4-13 matchup, correct?
Yes.
The winner of the 4-13 plays the 5-12. Okay, good. All right, I'm doing this well. All right, my favorite movie of all time, not even sports movie, favorite movie ever, Dennis Quaid, The Rookie, such an inspirational story. It is the 4 seed facing off against the 13 seed. And it's sad, but also inspirational movie. We Are Marshall. Makes me root for Marshall in the fall as my Conference USA team. Shout out future Heisman Trophy winner Grant Wells, their quarterback. All right, the 6-11 matchup. We have classic movie The Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio. And then we have at the 11 seed, Dodgeball.
I love Dodgeball. It still holds up. It's funny.
Dodgeball is very funny. You can also put that on the poll. Is Dodgeball very funny?
It is. I don't even need to put it on the poll. I already know.
All right. The
pirate, classic character.
The 3 seed, Hoop Dreams. The first documentary on the list. And then, way too low of a seed, 14th seeded Slapshot, the Hanson Brothers, the minor league hockey movie about a team that just likes to fight. The 2 seed, Free Solo. The second documentary coming in our first region.
Ooh, I didn't even realize that Free Solo got the 2 seed.
It is about a guy that doesn't care if he falls down a mountain. He will
and dies. I mean, he will die if he fails.
He rock climbs without a harness. It's insane.
The amazing thing about Free Solo is, I knew the result going into it, but it is still like the most tense last 30 minutes of movie I can ever remember, because it is so tense watching it.
It was one of the movies that ESPN played this summer on their, Friday night movie night when there were not as many sports. And I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh.
I saw it in theaters, and that was really, really cool seeing it in theaters on the big screen.
Wow.
That was awesome.
And then the 15 seed coming in there. This is a very interesting matchup. Angels in the Outfield.
Maybe the movie on this list I have seen the most times. Because back in my day, when Netflix delivered DVDs,
they still do.
I know, but back when that was like what they did,
my parents
recently did that. I got an Angels in the Outfield DVD, and I never returned it. It's still somewhere, and I probably watched that thing 100 times on like road trips, because it was like one of the like 3 or 4. Because like we had a DVD player in the car. And that was like one of the 3 or 4 DVDs that we had in the car in the DVD.
I wonder if they would really appreciate it if you sent that back.
Hey, I know you sent this to me in like 2008, but here it is.
We should try that. All right. Well, that concludes all we're going to reveal today.
7-10 seed.
Oh, that was the 7-10 seed. Free Solo versus Angels in the Outfield was the 7-10 seed, because, and let me switch this out, the Fan is definitely not the is definitely not the 2 seed. So change that, delete it, whatever you did. That was the 7-10 matchup. Angels in the Outfield being a 10 seed is very generous. But yes, we have the 15th seeded The Fan. Or wait, which one does the 15 go on again, Max?
The bottom, I believe.
Okay, yeah, all right. Then the 15 is The Fan, and then the 2 seed is Raging Bull, a much more deserving 2 seed than Free Solo. That was where I was a bit confused.
That can be debated there, but
I've not seen Raging Bull. I just heard it's a great movie.
It's a great movie. I'm not a huge fan, but it's a great movie.
All right, well, there is your first region. I don't know what we're calling this. Kind of the GOAT region. This is like the cream of the crop, especially that that it has game plan and ball and
a lot of Academy Awards in this region.
Yes, but yes, this is like the GOAT region. We will reveal the next little part of the bracket on Monday's show with myself and Alex Coyle, and we'll just keep going through until we have a winner by the end of March Madness. So, am I allowed to say that?
What?
March Madness?
I think so. I don't know.
I think it's trademarked, but it's okay. People say the Super Bowl. All right, well, that concludes our college basketball talk and movie bracket talk for now. Max, you have movies. I will play your intro, and then we can do that as a little transition action. And then we have a very big interview with a very famous YouTuber, Zack Hample. He catches baseballs. He's a big friend of the show. You want to stay tuned for that. It's the biggest part of the show today. It's a 20-minute interview with him. We recorded on Monday, and you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that because he is ready to get back into stadiums. Isn't that right, Max?
Yes, and I think he has officially reached the point where we can call him a friend of the show.
Yes, he is definitely a friend of the show.
Yeah.
He is definitely a friend.
He does our intro. We've interviewed him a couple times now. Like I think it's firmly in that territory.
Our friends of the show are him and Tim Kirchin. That's about it.
What about Ron Schnell?
Ron Schnell, yes. Ron Schnell and love expert Stacy Schnell and my dad and my mom, Becky from Becky and the Boom Booms, recovering journalist Mark Morrison. Those are the friends of the show. I really want your dad to come on, Max, and your mom as well. I think that would be fun. Here's your intro.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment. Well, kind of.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
I feel like we haven't played the intro in a while.
English language more harmful than good job.
Because every time we've been doing movies recently, it's
Here's
been like
Movies
a
with
special
Max.
segment for you.
Hey Jesse, I guess that's what I say.
Hey, guy.
I mean, I don't know what to say when it's only one person. You been on Twitter at all today?
Yeah, but I've been on I've been kind of trying to avoid certain parts of Twitter like I normally do. Like anytime I see a celebrity's name trend, I'm always scared. And then I also really, when there's a new movie out, especially if it's like a superhero movie, I try to stay off of that side of Twitter. And then if there's an over party one, I try to stay off of that side of Twitter because you can never find out what the person is actually being canceled.
It's all just K-pop fan cams.
It's just K-pop fan cams. But, and then there's been a lot of good sports news today. I'm trying to stay in a happy mindset today. We have March Madness. We've had a lot of free agency stuff. My Washington football team has gotten so much better in free agency. I'm so excited. And I'm being very excited for Jeremy's Miami Dolphins. They picked up Will Fuller V today. So,
anyway, if you were on Twitter today, you probably saw every single trending topic was about Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
Now, are you familiar with this whole story? So I feel like I need to explain at least.
I don't even know who Zack Snyder is.
So I need to explain some cliff notes of the story.
Who is Zack Snyder?
Zack Snyder, he was basically in the early 2010s was given the keys to run the entire DC comics film franchise, essentially. Like he was supposed to direct like 4 or 5 movies, supposed to write all of them, kind of set the whole template, control the whole thing. So he did a couple of them. He did Man of Steel, which I am not a fan of. I do not like that movie very much at all. Then he did Batman vs. Superman, which again, I'm not particularly a fan of.
People did not like that movie.
And so then some other directors came in to do Wonder Woman. And then he was able to make Justice League. But sadly, during the production of Justice League, his daughter passed away tragically.
Aww.
And so he left the project, and they brought in a different director to finish it. Now I have to say, this director that they brought in, Joss Whedon, not very likable and allegedly has a lot of baggage with him. We'll say that. And the movie that came out 4 years ago, Justice League, was not very good. A lot of people thought it was a little bit too rushed. A lot of people thought the tone was inconsistent. Both of those things mostly due to having 2 directors with completely different styles. And so then it kind of went away. It was kind of a big thing with fans of Zack Snyder that they wanted to see his version of Justice League, but everybody's like, there's no way that will happen. The first Justice League movie was a total and complete failure, both critically. It really lost a lot of money for DC.
Who made Suicide Squad?
That was David Ayer.
Okay, because I heard that movie was bad.
It's bad, but he's actually a pretty decent director, but that was just bad movie. So anyway, so that it was kind of like an internet trend, like where every once in a while you'd see people say, "Oh, release Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League," which never existed. But then Warner Brothers saw how many people wanted that to happen, and they decided to give Zack Snyder $70 million to finish his movie, to finish his Justice League. All the actors came back for it, and they shot this huge, it's 4 hours long. This is a 4-hour long movie.
I'm never watching this. This is a 4-hour long superhero
It
movie.
is a 4 hour long.
You couldn't pay me like $1 million to sit through that.
I watched the whole thing today. I got up at 6 a.m. because I'm usually in my best frame of mind to watch movies, especially long movies, early in the morning. So I got up, got some tea, sat down and watched it. And again, I've not been a fan of any Zack Snyder film before, whether it was DC or non-DC. I'm not a fan of his directing style. I'm not a fan of his writing. I don't think he's particularly great at it. But I will admit, this is one of
on my Roku remote. Okay, go on. Sorry.
This is one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Wow.
It really and truly is. Because I was one that was sitting there. I'm not a fan of his, like I said, and I was sitting there like a 4-hour movie, and I was like, it's just gonna be the same thing as the other Justice League, just longer. It's just gonna be so dragged out. Nothing's gonna happen until the last 30 minutes. It's gonna be so much time wasted. And instead, it is actually like a big time like throwback epic, almost like a 1960s movie that you'd see, like kind of like a Ben-Hur or Lawrence of Arabia, where they make these huge sprawling 4-hour epics that feel like 3 movies in one, but are all like one complete story, one through line. And like, I don't know if I just appreciate the gall to go out and make a 4-hour long Justice League movie. Like, that is like so pretentious to be able to say, yeah, I'm just going to go make a 4-hour Justice League movie and you guys are going to watch it. Like, but I think it's kind of awesome that he did it. And it's genuinely a movie I wish I could have seen in theaters, because it would have played amazing on a big screen. It would have played amazing with a crowd. Like I said, never once got bored during the whole thing. Didn't need to take a break. Didn't even really look at my phone very much during it. It's got great humor. It's got some great action sequences. It's got amazing character development. It basically puts like 3 superhero origin stories in one movie, but like they all feel complete. It doesn't have anything extra in it. There's no like BS scenes that drag the movie out too much. Everything that's in it needs to be in it. And I think that's why it moves along so fast, is because you're never feeling like you're wasting time. I think it's kind of a superhero masterpiece, honestly.
That's awesome, actually. I'm a little bit interested. I might watch an hour a day.
It's a well, and here's the thing. You can break it up because it is in chapters. Like it comes up with like chapter 1, this, chapter 2, this. I think it's like divided into like 5 different chapters. So it kind of tells you where to take breaks if you want.
Is any of the original movie in it?
Yes. There are, I mean, a lot of the, because Zack Snyder directed like almost half of the original Justice League movie. It was pretty far into production when he left the project originally. And so there are scenes that are in it, but most of them are different because the original Justice League, Warner Brothers didn't, the big complaint about DC movies at the time was that they're too long, they're too bloated with story, they had too much unnecessary stuff in them. So they really, really cut up the, because it's under 2 hours, the 2017 Justice League is. So they really cut a lot of it up. And it's stuff that is weird that they cut out. Some of the scenes are just, because every scene that's in the 2017 one is drastically better in this one. Another bonus to this one's rated R. they gave him an R rating, which I also really respect Warner Brothers for doing that, giving a Justice League movie an R rating. That's a really, really like bold step to take, and they don't use it too much. There's some language. I think there's 3 F words in it, and there's some pretty big violence in it too and stuff. I mean, there's some blood splatters, there's some limbs being cut off. Like it's pretty intense.
All right. Well, we're gonna throw it over to Zack Hample.
By the way, high recommendation. I give it an A-.
Wow.
Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Gotta get your grade. I forget about that. That's a high grade for you on a superhero movie.
It is. I usually give superhero movies like B- to B+. I think it's very rare that one goes below B-. It's very rare that one goes above B+. I think this is one of the 3 or 4 best superhero movies to come out in the last 5 years, I'd say.
Well, we're gonna throw it over to the Zack Hample interview. Thank you so much, Zack, for joining us. And then we will come back after that with some What Are We Doing? Welcome back to the Why So Serious show. Jesse Morrison alongside Max Bechtold. And we have a very special guest. He came on a couple years ago to talk about his career and his hobbies on YouTube. The one, the only Zack Hample. Zack, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back with you guys.
Good to have you. So I just wanted to start off back. Ballparks are open somewhat. How excited are you to get back out there?
I am medium excited because when I'm hearing about all the rules and regulations that are going to be taking effect this season, it's tough to get too excited about gates opening an hour before game time so you don't get to see batting practice, having to wear masks, which, listen, I support the science and I think masks are important, but they're still not fun to wear. And especially if I'm trying to film YouTube videos and people can't even see my face. Stadiums being segmented, you can't wander, you can't bring in bags, no outside food. I heard that MLB has told players not to throw balls into the crowd. So it's just like, I don't know, the whole thing is just gonna be a shell of itself. And you know, baseball is great, but the things that I love most about it, it just seems like those are going to be taken off the table this year.
So, I mean, obviously, I think you've probably started, season's coming up, but have you started coming up with some strategies for how you're going to shoot videos, how you're going to catch a lot of balls and stuff like that? Have you started kind of strategizing that? And if so, you know, what are some of your plans?
My main plan is to try extra hard not to get sick. I mean, at all, but especially since I'm still not vaccinated. So my travel will probably be more limited until that happens. The only strategy I can even think about right now is just how to get tickets. You know, I have a season ticket at Yankee Stadium, but it's just 1 seat and it's 3 rows from the field. So are they going to be roping off the first few rows? Will they even give me my single ticket? You know, I think they're allowing 10% of capacity to start, which is only about 5,000 fans at Yankee Stadium. So I would assume that if everybody's going to be spaced apart, they want to sell pods of probably 4 tickets. If they give me 1 ticket and they can't have anybody within 6 feet of me, they're losing money compared to having 4 tickets there. So I don't even know how tickets are going to work. I guess things will be available on the secondary market, but you probably have to buy at least 2 or 4 tickets. And I think you're going to see some insane prices for regular season games because of limited demand. So the whole thing is a mess. And I still don't have a single game planned. I know I will be at games and I know there will be some videos, but I have no idea how it's taking shape at this point.
So I went to a spring training game. Luckily, I got in for $10 a ticket, which is how much spring training.
How did you manage that?
Just showed up on, it was $15 a ticket on TickPick, and I used it, and I had a coupon. So I was able to do that. But there have been spring training games out here that the cheapest ticket is like $200, and the starters play 5 innings. It's insane. But yeah, it's crazy. But I just wanted to go back a little bit of a lighter topic to last season. I was so enthralled. I loved your videos from the season without fans, especially the one where you were running around the parking lot of Citi Field trying to get a ball. that had to be my favorite. And you were able to get on the board without even going into the ballpark. So just could you talk about that whole experience last year, and then making that ESPN video where you were waving your hands above the park in Buffalo?
Yeah, so I mean, no fans allowed in stadiums for the whole regular season, and then finally the last couple rounds of the postseason in Arlington, Texas, they let people in, and I went out there. But as far as the regular season goes, I wasn't going to be stopped. You know, there are some obvious stadiums where you can catch baseballs outside. Waveland Avenue outside of Wrigley Field in Chicago. Get yourself in a kayak, go to McCovey Cove in San Francisco. You know, even past the Green Monster in Boston, they'll hit balls out that way. But Chicago and San Francisco, while they would have been fun, I didn't want to get on an airplane last year. And so everybody was telling me, oh, you got to come out. It'll be fun. It'll be cool. But it's like, hey, I'm putting my health first. So I didn't go out there. But there are still ways to get baseballs, even in the most unlikely of spots, especially if you're clever and crafty, and especially if you have a connection or two, which was the case in Washington, D.C. I got a baseball tossed out of the stadium by an employee who was friends with someone that I happened to mention I was going, and he's like, I'll tell my guy to look for a ball and he'll toss it out if he sees you. So, you know, sure, that might have an asterisk on it, but the whole season last year had an asterisk, so I don't feel guilty. But yeah, I went to a couple games up in Buffalo, hung out outside of Salem Field. Of course, the Blue Jays weren't allowed to play in Toronto, so they were there. And I could stand on a guardrail outside of the stadium on the side of this exit ramp to the highway. And if I got up high enough and waved my arms, I could hopefully get the attention of the players on the field. That is until the police showed up and kicked me away, and stadium security, they chased me across the street. So it was such a pain, but my videographer was with me at a lot of these games. He got a shot of me waving, and you know, someone who works for someone who represents ESPN saw that clip, and they were putting together a whole montage of basically fans being dedicated and trying to experience professional sports even during a pandemic. And they were like, hey, can we use a couple seconds of, you know, this video of you doing, and I'm like, yeah, go for it. So I ended up in an ESPN commercial. That was pretty fun.
So let's say you were just going to a game just to watch, just to enjoy baseball, not to catch balls and stuff. What is your favorite current Major League Baseball stadium where, you know, kind of taking out all of the different spots to catch and stuff, that is, in your opinion, the best? Fenway
Park, without a doubt. Fenway and Wrigley are up there together. Certainly the ivy is one of the more unique features at Wrigley, and I love things that are unique, but to me, Fenway is even more unique. Just that crazy big wall and the weird angles, and I love the old-timey feel. That is the oldest stadium, and every game at Fenway feels like a party. You know, there's a lot of passionate fan bases, but you know, certain fan bases, they feel almost entitled, and there's this sort of crappy energy, and other fan bases, there's like a feeling of hostility in the stadium. I'm not going to name any teams, but you can probably guess. But at Fenway, and listen, there's good fans and there's bad fans everywhere, and there have been some ugly incidents at Fenway, but I'm just saying overall feels like a party vibe. I mean, they let people climb up on a ledge and scribble their names on the foul pole, the pesky pole down the right field line. Like, try doing that at Yankee Stadium. You'll be in jail about 2 minutes later. So, I just absolutely love Fenway.
Oh, they were so. I'm an Orioles fan, and they were so nice to me. They were like, at least you're not a Yankees fan, and we love you here. And you know, make sure you get what are their hot dogs called? A Fenway Frank. Make sure you get a Fenway Frank.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you're an Orioles fan, or if you're a fan of any team that sucks, sorry, but real talk, people aren't going to hate you. You know, you walk in somewhere with the Yankees hat, Dodgers, Red Sox, whatever, people are going to be pissed. You go somewhere in Orioles gear or like Royals gear, people almost feel sorry for you. So, you know, at some point the Orioles will be great again. The Yankees will suck and the Orioles will be great. Might take a while, but at some point that will happen. So while your team is struggling, at least enjoy the fact that you can go anywhere and everybody's going to be nice to you.
So at this spring training game, I got my first home run ball ever hit to me, or not really hit to me, but hit near me. So I was sitting on the berm, right, and then there was the batter's eye. It was Rangers in Cleveland, and I forget who hit it. Some like prospect guy hit it straight away center field. It was like in these rocks. So I made a beeline toward it. I sprinted really hard. I hopped over the little chain that was marking it off, and I sprinted really, really fast. It was kind of a long way away from where I was sitting, actually.
Now, is this batting practice?
No, this was in the game.
During the game, and you don't know who hit it? Come on, man. You got to go back.
Daniel Johnson. Daniel Johnson. That was his name. Daniel Johnson for Cleveland. And so I grab it, and I tossed it to a kid. I learned well from your videos. But yeah, what's the furthest you've ever ran for a home run ball? Can be batting practice, can be in the game.
Oh, that's a good question. I know that on May 1st, 2018, I remember that date because that was the day that I got 3 home runs during the game in Cincinnati. Awesome. The last of those home runs was Alex Blandino's first career home run. So that will always stand out to me. But earlier in the game, and that one was like in the 9th inning, but early in the game, Jesus Aguilar hit one like way out in left center, and I was pretty much from straightaway left. And there were not too many fans at that game, which is why I was there. There was a lot of room to run, and I was wearing kind of like a neon yellow shirt, basically for the purpose of standing out, running through the seats. They have all those red seats there. Anytime you wear a dark color, no matter the stadium, you're not going to stand out as well. And if I were wearing red, you really wouldn't have seen me. But if you look at the highlight, you can just see this little yellow blur just streaking through the mostly empty stands. And I think I traveled at least 2 full sections for that one. And sections are like 24 seats, and every seat is like 18 inches wide. So you do the math. Like, I covered some good ground, didn't catch it on the fly, because he crushed it so hard, it hit off the facade of the second deck, ricocheted down in the seats. Thankfully, it did not bounce too far away. It just stayed right there, and I was able to grab it. But there's lots of baseballs where I am the first one to it, and it ricochets, in a terrible direction. I don't get it. So that one definitely stands out.
So in May of 2019, I went to my first game at Dodger Stadium. It was a really cool experience and stuff. It was a Friday night. It was packed house. They were playing the Nationals, I believe. And Jock Peterson, I was sitting probably 15 rows up in right field. And Jock Peterson just absolutely smashed one, just absolutely crushed it. It's a laser beam. It's coming right at me. I didn't have a glove. And so I didn't know what to do. The baseball game was kind of like an extra thing that we did on that trip. We didn't really know we were doing it and stuff. So I didn't have a glove. It's coming right at me. So I got out of the way. It lands in the bleacher behind me. And I didn't know what to do though, because I was sat there frozen. I was like, do I get out of the way or do I try to catch it? What's your advice in that situation if somebody doesn't have a glove and gets a Jock Peterson absolute smash hit right to?
And again, this is during the game.
Yep. First inning, he was the leadoff hitter for the Dodgers.
I'm very disappointed in you. I think you gotta sacrifice your body for it.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, a young, fully grown man like yourself. Like, I wouldn't tell a small child, get hurt for the ball, or someone very old, but you're exactly the age where you should go for it.
Yeah,
and the way I always thought when I was little is the pain goes away, but the ball lasts forever.
Yeah.
Gotta go for it. Gotta go for it. If you want to do a little play business in batting practice, that's one thing. But a game home run?
I know.
All right. So I had a question, and I know Max is a big movie buff. I love your collection of VCR tapes. I was a big fan of the VCR as a kid. I think we still have it somewhere. But what's the best movie you have in there and the worst movie you have in there?
All right. So the worst movie I have, I probably haven't watched it, and that's Titanic, I guess.
Yes, that movie is so overrated.
I don't even know where it is, but it's like a two tape thing. Maybe you can see it somewhere.
That movie is so overrated.
Oh yeah, here it is, Titanic.
Oh.
Even I don't know if you can see it has dust on the top because I'm not going to watch this.
It's so overrated.
And so why would I have movies that I don't watch? Well, because I bought these in bulk off of eBay years ago, and if there was one movie that I wanted, but it was bundled up with 10 other crappy ones, but I could get them all for $2, it's like, well, I guess I'll just buy them. The best movie? Man. All right. Here's one that I think is extremely underrated. People make fun of it, but I absolutely love it. And I can relate to the main character in it in a strange way. The movie is called Powder. It's so good. I mean, I don't know. I've showed it to a few friends and they're like, really? But I don't know. Yet to be there. Powder.
I'll watch it. I'll add it to the list.
I mean, there are far better movies that would be universally rated above that one, but like I'm trying to pick a less obvious choice. I guess in that sense I should have picked something, less obvious than Titanic. Sorry. Oh well.
All right. So obviously Yankees Red Sox, best rivalry in baseball. I think that's just kind of an accepted fact. But taking out Red Sox Yankees, was the best rivalry both from like intensity of fans and then actual product on the field?
Well, the Red Sox, they seem to have a bad year every other year. So when they're firing and when they're going head to head with the Yankees down the stretch, that's about as good as it gets. I mean, I guess Mets and Phillies can actually be pretty intense. More of that Northeast action. I mean, Dodgers, Giants, like Cardinals and everybody. I mean, Cubs and Brewers, like that can get pretty intense at Wrigley. I try to avoid these types of matchups because, it's good from a baseball energy perspective. But again, the fewer people that are at a game, the more fun I have, the more baseballs I catch, the more exciting the videos are. I caught 3 home runs in a game in Cincinnati because like there were 10,000 people. There's a reason that I go to Cincinnati as much as possible and not Busch Stadium because they get 45,000 every game. So, yeah, I mean, Mets and Braves for a while in the late 90s, that was super intense. I don't know. It's not just a regional thing because sometimes two teams are, like the Royals and the Cardinals, they play in the same state, but like it just doesn't get that intense because the Royals aren't that good. But yeah, I think maybe I like Mets Phillies now. I mean, ever since that whole Chase Utley incident, and there've been a lot of things over the years. That's one of my favorite ones right now.
So I have one last question for you. If Max wants to ask something else, then I'll throw it to him. But my last question for you is, so you got to go to Globe Life Field for the World Series. I know you loved Globe Life Park. It was one of your favorite places. How does Globe Life Field stack up? And because I personally, from just seeing the two of them, liked the old one a little bit better.
Well, that's because you are a very sensible man. Just to set the record straight, I was there for the NLCS, not the World Series.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for that.
All good. I would have loved to be there for the series, but again, you had to buy a minimum of 4 tickets, and the prices were really crazy. And I just, it's like, I decided to go out there for games 1 and 2, the very first 2 games that fans were allowed in that stadium. I was like, I'm not waiting, I'm going, even though it's less historic baseball in a way, because it's the league championship series. I wanted to be there first. And then if I had gone back home to New York, I would have had to quarantine for 2 weeks, I think. So it's like, I couldn't have then gone back out to the World Series legally. So it's like, do I just stay there for like 3 weeks and pay for a hotel room for like, it would have gotten extremely expensive. So that's why I just went out for only 2 games. Wish I'd stayed for maybe 3 or 4, but listen, it all worked out well. The stadium is an impressive facility from an architectural standpoint, but it has no charm. There's not really anything that unique about it. They got some big brick arches up in the upper deck concourse, which look cool. I don't know. Indoor baseball always sucks for me. I understand, we've collectively messed up the planet so much that now there's climate change and it's too hot to play outdoor baseball in Texas. But yeah, the magic is gone. And sure, there'll be magical moments at the new stadium. And it's not a bad place, but the old stadium, man, there was just something so charming and delightful. There was like a loving vibe in the air in that place, and that is gone.
Site of my favorite baseball movie, The Rookie. Never got to go, and it bums me out.
So yeah, he's
love it.
I was like, do I have it there? No, I don't know. Rookie of the year.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year. It's a good one though.
So I just recently moved to the Bay Area. I'm hoping to get some kind of baseball at some point this year. Any tips for catching at those 2 stadiums?
Okay, so San Francisco is tough because there is a culture of ball hawking there. Every stadium has at least a few fans that are very into this. And sometimes it's mainly kids. In San Francisco, there's like 100 grown men at every game who bring their gloves and stand on the benches in the bleachers in left field. And every time a home run ball lands, even in batting practice, it feels like there's half a dozen gloves reaching up for it. So very competitive. How tall are you, by the way?
I'm close to 6 foot.
All right, that's pretty good. So you're not too many people are going to have a height advantage over you, so that's helpful. Bring a glove. Dummy, don't make that.
I do have my glove in my closet here, so I'll be ready to catch
that. It gets very crowded quickly there in batting practice, so you can catch baseballs outside on the port walk beyond the right field wall between the stadium and McCovey Cove. In some rare cases, I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but you can even shout through the open gates and get players to throw balls over the arcade walkway, which is like the elevated seating in right field. And if they throw it high enough, like at a sharp enough angle up, it'll come down and land on that skinny walkway outside the stadium. But if they chuck it at an angle and put too much muscle on, it'll land in the water, and then you can't get it unless you have some kind of crazy device. And there are guys out there who have the devices. They're really good at it. I can't compete with them. So sometimes a ball will even home run balls might ricochet out of the stadium and land on the walkway. So, go out there early BP, early to mid-afternoon. You might get lucky with an extra ball coming out, and then just try to get inside early. Mm-hmm. I think left field is a good spot there. There's a walkway directly behind the wall that can fill up fast. So maybe work that for the first couple minutes, work the toss-ups. You might find a ball in the seats. And then if it gets really crowded early in that walkway, hang back like 10 rows, maybe even 15 rows. We'll see how juiced the baseballs are this year, but try to give yourself at least a little bit of space. That's my advice there. And then Oakland, it never gets too crowded there, but there is a pretty competitive bunch of guys who go for baseballs early. I would say a really good spot to catch baseballs in that stadium are foul balls behind the plate during games. There's a walkway right in the front row, and if it's not too crowded, you can grab a seat there and really have some lateral mobility if they loop one back over the protective screen. BP, there's no walkway right behind the fence in the front row. So if you want to have any movement, you're going to have to play all the way back in the walkway. It does take a poke for baseballs to reach there, and other guys will camp out there too, but it's a good spot, like 400-ish feet from home plate, have some room to move around. Yeah, I'm always against being packed in the front row with too many other people. So get there early, spread out, bring your glove, and yeah, good foul ball opportunities in Oakland for sure.
Cool.
All right, well, Zach, I think that's all we have for you. That was really fun. Good luck this year. I hope to see some videos and hope to maybe see you at a game at some point. I don't know where I'm going to be, but I'm going to try to get to at least a D-backs game here and there.
There you go. Well, I don't know if I'll make it out to Phoenix this year, but it could happen. You know, maybe I'll see them on the road. And I'm hoping to make it to Dunedin for a regular season game. That would be my 60th Major League Stadium. So hopefully I can score some tickets and do some videos, but that's the first thing I'm looking at, and then we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Thanks again.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Welcome back to the show. Again, thanks so much to Zack Hample for joining us. He is at about 500,000 subscribers on YouTube now, so shout out to that. I can't wait to see him actually catching baseballs this year, not just running around the parking lot, even though that was funny. But we have one last segment that I wanted to do because today there was the need for a What Are We Doing segment. So, Max, I will have you start, and then I'll go.
See, I don't even know where to go with this because you did honestly take my What Are We Doing. I figured you would. And so I feel like we just need to combine What Are We Doing.
Combine What Are We Doing. Okay, yeah. Then I will start. All right, so go on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, get a Twitter. I'm not going to go to the hassle of pulling up all of these images, but I will say that it is a disgrace what the NCAA has done, and it is just awful. And what they have done is they put a men's tournament in Indianapolis with amazing facilities. The men's tournament has amazing facilities, a great weight room. The players get an unbelievable swag bag with like a full blanket.
They got now I'm not going to say, because I know that there were some issues also in the men's.
They got 3 sticks of deodorant, right?
Yeah. They also, I saw yesterday, got delivery from St. Elmo's Steakhouse, which if you are familiar with Indianapolis, you know that is the most famous restaurant in the city, might be the most famous steakhouse in the country. That is I've been there a couple times. It is amazing. It's amazing.
It is quite the perk. It is quite the perk. And they deserve it. That 100% deserve all of this.
They've been a tough season. Yeah, absolutely.
They've worked their asses off this year. They're in the NCAA tournament. They have gone through all this COVID protocol stuff all year, and they deserve this. If they're going to be exploited like this to play during a pandemic season, then they deserve it. Because because I think that everybody, no matter how much you agree or disagree with if they should be playing college sports right now, I don't think anybody's really seriously complaining that there's a March Madness tournament. I think that people are enthralled with this, like I was tonight. Like I don't know what I would have done today if this wasn't on. Like, I mean, I probably would have done something more productive with my life, but I was very happy to have the 4 games that were amazing and brought me back to, oh, this tournament is amazing. But that's beside the point. Those players deserve all of that. But the women's players who did the exact same thing deserve the same things that the men do, and they didn't. They got weights and yoga mats. It was lazily put together. Their swag bag was good, not great, and I don't know what their food situation is, but I heard somebody complain about it. And they got less. I think they got less grooming care stuff, and they got. And I think one of the players that I saw talk about this said that they were given some like entertainment video on like how to like do like a hair scrunchie or something. Just assuming that this is what women are into. And then the NCAA has the audacity to say that they didn't think that they had enough room in this place. Somebody showed a giant space where they could have put a weight room that was that size. And so now they're going to upgrade it, but after there was backlash on Twitter from their maybe most famous star of all time in the NCAA women's basketball, Sabrina Ionescu, and NBA players like CJ McCollum went on Twitter talking about this. Things need to be equal. Women's basketball is great. People need to watch women's basketball. The rims, they don't need to be lowered. because that would kill what's great about women's basketball. Women's basketball is the truest form of sports. I mean, it's the truest form of basketball we have playing right now. They play like basketball was meant to supposed to be played. If they lowered the rims, it would just be men's basketball where they're just, running around, dunking, relying on their athleticism, not playing. Like, the thing that's great about women's basketball is they can't get away with just relying on their athleticism. They have to play defense. Like, if they lowered the rims, it would just be a bunch of, it would just be like exactly what we see with men's basketball, where it's, lazy defense sometimes. And, it's just because there's just such an easy way to rely on your athleticism when you can just dunk a basketball. It's great. It's fun. I love it on the men's side, but I don't want it on the women's side. So yeah, just like stop. Just the hate needs to stop, and the equality, needs to be there, because, if one tournament with the men is getting a bunch of stuff and this one tournament with the women is not, it's just a terrible look. And it's just another example of why the NCAA is absolutely trash. Sorry for going on so long, but Max, go for it.
And obviously, you're going to hear the same arguments from people that disagree that you always hear, which is that the revenue isn't the same. The revenue. And I get it. The revenue isn't the same. I think that's partially NCAA's fault for not giving it the attention it deserves. But the revenue isn't the same. I get it. I get if sometimes some of the things aren't going to be exactly equal. What a pathetic effort by the NCAA, though, on this women's. It reminds me of the day when Firefest dropped, when people were showing like all their stuff. Like, it was a Firefest weight room there. Yeah. It is the most pathetic looking thing ever. My closet is bigger than their weight room looked.
My weight room at my crappy student apartment in Tempe, Arizona is a heck of a lot better than that weight room that they got.
I mean, it was so stupid, and it's such an insult to those players. It is such an insult to them that this is what they gave them. It's absolutely stupid, absolutely ridiculous.
Stanford had to play away from their campus this year because of, and your school, San Jose State, had to play away from their campus this year. And San Jose State isn't in the tournament, but Stanford.
Yeah, they canceled their season, but
they canceled their season. Stanford to play in Las Vegas all year away from their campus, attending online class. But they battled through that to be a 1 seed out of the best conference, and this is what they get.
Yeah.
It's absolutely atrocious. The NCAA needs to do better than just, oh, sorry, we failed a little bit. They need to do better. They need to come out and seriously change. Like, they need to seriously change. They need to put bigger games on national TV. Like, the fact that the Pac-12, ASU women's basketball did not get a single ESPN game this year, it's insane. Like, that's the thing. That conference should have a bunch of national TV games, but instead it's just buried on the crappy ass Pac-12 network, which I want to work for, but it's just not that great.
Here's the thing. Well, it's not that the network isn't that great, which I also don't really think the network's that great, but nobody can watch it. It's on like 3 cable outlets in the nation. Like, and they stick all their games at 10:30 at night on the East Coast on a network that nobody gets. Of course, nobody's going to watch it. That's my issue with the Pac-12 overall across all sports, but specifically women's basketball, where they're a really strong conference. Like, Stanford is a national brand in women's basketball that people will watch. UCLA basketball, I don't care if it's men's or women's, people will be more inclined to watch UCLA than other schools. Oregon State basketball has been so good in the recent years in the women's basketball.
Oregon, both women's and men's. They're both in the tournament. Men's are a 7 seed, women's are a 6 seed.
Yeah. And it's a bigger issue with the Pac-12 here than even just that, because I bet if you walk down the street anywhere east of Utah, most people have not watched a single Pac-12 college basketball game. Even college basketball fans haven't. And that's just the Pac-12's issue.
Yep. And but just overall, just, bad look. And
NCAA, pathetic, absolutely pathetic. And I do think it could be kind of a catalyst for change a little bit, because I even think this was something that even the people who disrespect women's sports, who put kitchen in replies to everything. I think even this was an eye opener for even those people that are like, okay, that is just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't any effort at all.
Yep. And hey, watch this tournament. It's going to be great. Hopefully we get UConn and Stanford, because that would be, one of the best college basketball games of, the season. Hopefully we get that. Hopefully we get UConn Tennessee, because that is one of the best rivalries in college sports. That would be a great matchup to watch. And see, here's what women's basketball does that men's basketball fans, that solely men's basketball fans don't understand. They put games like Stanford UConn every single year on the schedule, and Baylor UConn, all these schools, they play each other because it is a great because it brings the eyeballs. And so if you want to see really good competitive games, watch the women's side. But watch this tournament. ESPN, they do a great job. I think they'll have Ryan Rucco on play-by-play. Dave Pash does games. You've got Rebecca Lobo on analyst. This coach guy that's really funny. So watch that. Holly Rowe's going to be there in person. So watch there. They're going to do a great job on it. So just watch it, enjoy it. Because it's just it's just got the same flair as, especially in recent years where the teams are catching up to the top. There's been way more upsets. It's very fun. So watch that tournament. And what are we doing? NCAA.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Okay, that's all. I mean, that wasn't the most why so serious part of anything, but sometimes you gotta have important conversations. We will update the standings of our tournament once we get to that point in next week, once we're finalized with who advances, because now it would be a moot point because it's we gotta wait 24 hours for it to become final.
We did also have one other poll though today.
We did, yes. What is the GCU result?
Is Grand Canyon University a real place? 16.7% yes, 83.3% no. This Grand Canyon University is a conspiracy. I'm sorry. It just is.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and good night to our friends north of the border up there in Canada. Just with their 7 hockey teams playing each other. That's a fun division up there though. Lots of scoring.